Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CNI Forge here at Cullination Island Creations. And this was my first ever cardboard rifle ever built. It was August of 2024, and I'd finished it. It wasn't my first gun, but it was my first rifle. With a 12-inch barrel, this long firing mechanism, an adjustable stock, it seemed, for a first rifle, I did pretty cool. But through time, she started aging, peeling, getting weaker. These things happen, and although this handle still works like a charm, other things are quite, tearing apart. This is in the early to mid stages of falling apart, so it has reached the end of its useful life, and likely will have a small part in enforcement, if any. So, what's going to be in its place?
It has to work better, not just look better.
The slow decay of the Cardboard Mark II plasma rifle was unavoidable. It was an early build, my first ever rifle, and then in December, I made a New Year's resolution to finish building the cardboard AR-15 that I call the Card 15. And I think I did pretty decent. Has a removable and replaceable magazine, charging handle, easily removable and replaceable, a holographic sight, good trigger, and a sturdy build, much more rigid than the Mark II plasma rifle. This is Mark 1C technology. And I built Mark 1 and I built Mark 1B in the form of the rattlesnake machine gun, not shown here today. The best part about this, in my opinion, is this new stock design. It's adjustable, it's sturdy, it's strong. It can take quite some force, which is coming in handy every time I shove this against my shoulder. And I've applied this same technology, but better, to the Mark IIB plasma rifle coming up next. This was an essential sort of step towards the Mark IIB, and technology in this is sturdy and dependable. So I figured, what could go wrong with making the Mark IIB plasma rifle? You'd actually be surprised. I was coming up with some bold new ideas, and they had their susceptibilities to problems. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Is this how Cullen learned empathy for defense contractors? Seriously, all those delays.
Making this Mark IIB plasma rifle is like solving a complex math equation. Not the greatest of equations, like to make a SpaceX rocket do its thing, or even an airplane, but it's more than your 5th grade math test. Trust me. And if even one or two things is or are not considered, or considered poorly, or even somewhat mistakenly, it could lead to a problem I had with this handle. It fell apart twice because I didn't use enough glue, or there wasn't enough surface area to work with. Now, I succeeded with this thing because I thought of how much glue and how much attaching surface area it was going to need. But I did a multi-component handle, and this part here kept falling off of the trigger guard, and I had to fix it. And my idea was to go for a new piece of technology. A handle that curves forward instead of one that's, this sharp edge like this. Now that's fine for the trigger guard for me for this, but I wanted to go for a more curvy handle, and the cost was, well, I wasn't ready the first time. Now, it's stuck into place better because I used more glue. And there we go. And this isn't the first time this has happened in my cardboard journey. I had a problem with my first cardboard shelf. The second one has been up for over 2 weeks instead of not even 3 days. And I'd like to think that this is going to go just as good, if not better. Another feature I added on was print. This says Mark IIB. And one of the Roman numerals fell off in the process of painting, and that was awkward. But I was able to recover that and reinforce a few others. And in the hours since, none of these letters have fallen off. There was a barrel alignment issue. This thing liked to be twisted the wrong way by just about 1/4 inch, and I had to do what I could about that. Now it's more like 1/16 of an inch. But yeah, if you don't cut exactly or place something very exactly, if it's about a long object, it's going to add up over distance. The plasma cell ejection system. There's an inner wedge pushing this cell out. So if I pull this back, this is what it's supposed to do. I fixed it already. But let me tell you something about the last version. It was a bigger wedge, harder to push through, and I guess it gripped against the edges of the internal part here. And over time, it wore out the adhesive, and the wedge fell out inside. This new version works better because it's looser against the edges. There's actually some airspace. And it works for multiple uses, to my knowledge, because I've tested it. But let me tell you about the things that never went wrong, from planning to execution. The scope. Other than a minor cardboard alignment issue that I fixed completely, this thing was never really a problem. It has back crosshairs and a front dot. And to improve this upon prior weapons I've made, I've drawn those on the inside of the plastic instead of the outside. So if some child has this mischievous idea to rub it, you can't! And I have been, seriously, I've got to get more careful with this blade here. You can see I've played Halo. And I remember the digital ammo counter for the M85B assault rifle, or if you're older than that, or love the movie, Aliens. This never went wrong, and you could probably see why. It was so simple. Lastly, let me show you this feature right here. It's like the stock for the Card 15, but it is even more dependable. You see this? Doesn't this look stronger? And then there's this. The last cardboard butt I made was for the Card 15, and this is where the Mark II actually did better. It's because it was one layer of cardboard on the back meant to flex and then sort of snap back like a rubber band, but it just kept bending in. This involves duct tape on the outside of 2 layers, not 1, and it is keeping more of a curve. It's hot glued here and on the bottom. The back has more of a sophisticated, advanced looking shape. And you can tell this side is more securely built. This part here, doesn't it look like it's got an extra layer of armor? So after all the hardship I went through to build this, I'm showing you why I feel kind of proud of this one. I don't even know how to describe it in one word. It's not really good. It's not just decent. It's somewhat rad, I'll say. Me making an opinion of my own craft. And then there's the bayonet. Kind of like the old Mark II with the grenade launcher and, yes, this knife later. I wanted to make sure this had some of the old, including the classic gray. So, I'm now in the Terminator Future War. And that's another thing I thought of when I built this. Also, if I'm wearing any one of my cardboard helmets, I can actually aim down this scope with the helmet on. With all of my prior cardboard weapons, the problem is the outside armor goes to the stock and then I can't even look through the sight. This one had that thought through. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think? Leave your opinions in the comments. Tear this apart. Hey, maybe it'll challenge me to do better.